The trial for a woman accused of fatally shooting her then-boyfriend Matthew Bills started today here in Wood County. Barbara Cupp is facing a murder charge for the March 2025 shooting of Bills in Williamstown. The trial began with opening statements from both the prosecution and defense. The prosecution called several witnesses, including the first deputy chief medical examiner for the state, both of Bills' daughters, officers, and the paramedic who responded to the scene, criminal investigator Leslie Board, and Trinity Bills, the ex-wife of the deceased. The court witnessed photographs of the wounds found on Bills' body and of the residence where his body was found. Family witnesses gave testimony to Bills' character, and expert witnesses explained the types of wounds he had and described the crime scene in detail.
The state believes that will bring you to one logical conclusion. The state is confident that when reviewing this evidence, including the fact that Matthew Bills was shot 3 times, once in the back, that you will reach a verdict of guilty in this case in the indictment and come to the same conclusion I stated earlier. Hell hath no fury like a woman's scorn.
There's another tragedy in this case, and that is the tragedy of the state of West Virginia trying to put Barbie Cupp in prison for the rest of her life for a crime that she didn't commit.
The families of both Bills and Cupp were present at the trial. The trial will continue tomorrow in Judge Robert Waters' courtroom.